Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Tower card. This is a VR to Musings by Masha. Masha's been doing these videos all year, every 2 weeks, releasing some fantastic artistic history reviews of the Trumps. Every 2 weeks, we get a new Trump. She's also been showing some of her favorite Trumps from her collection in separate videos. And then some of us around the community are also doing it. We're doing VRs and you can check them out in her playlists. So I will link those playlists down below so you can take a look at those if you're interested. Now, the Tower card is my least favorite card in the deck. I've already talked about this a couple of times. I've made 2 whole videos on how much I hate the Tower card, so we're not going to get too much into that today, but I will link those videos in the cards up here for you if you're interested in seeing me rant about the Tower card. However, because it's a card that bothers me so much, I think that I pay a little bit more attention to it when I buy a deck because I find that I have quite a few in my collection that I really enjoy looking at. And so yeah, I just wanted to share some of those here with you today. I couldn't get it down to 5, but we're just going to share the ones that I have. So let's get started. Let's start with the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. So I actually, when I first opened the deck and I did the first impressions, I really liked this card from the beginning. And even though it shows everything that I usually don't like in a tower card, which is like things lightning and things blowing up and people falling to their death, right? I really enjoy the beavers here and the little fairy with this hammock to catch these children as they're falling. So it's almost like this Hansel and Gretel situation. And if you think about that story where you have these children who've wandered off and done something they weren't supposed to do and gotten too far down the path and they can't quite get back. And they've, now that it's, they're at a point where things are exploding, but these sort of creatures, nature, things that are outside of their control but here to help are here to catch them. And I actually really enjoy this tower card, even though it's sort of volatile. And I don't prefer a volatile tower card. I prefer a more introspective tower card, I guess is my preference. But you can't always have everything you want, right? So yeah, I actually really love this one. So this is from the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. So this is the tower card from the Seal and Risa Tarot. I really love this one, and I like the idea of this sort of being broken open. I also really enjoy the mimic of the magician here, the as above, so below. This stigmata sort of situation happening on her hands. It just really brings to mind this sort of divine intervention. And I think this sort of cracking open of the soul is interesting to me. And I not that I feel like every time a moment happens, it's this deep. Sometimes it can feel big. It's an emotional thing, even though it may not be like the end all of your life, right? But it could just feel so big. It can feel so emotional. It can feel like you're cracking open, but you're letting the light out, right? You're letting the light out so that it can illuminate your space. And I really enjoy that. You even get the tower here in the background with more light coming out. So yeah, I really enjoy this. And it also rings to me like um, kind of reminds me of how when that Japanese practice of kintsugi, where you are putting things broken things back together with gold to make those cracks, to illuminate those cracks, to make it stronger and to make it feel more beautiful. And so I think that this one, when I first saw it, was one of the cards that I saw in the deck that really made me want to own this deck. And so yeah, sometimes a tower card will make me buy a deck, and this is definitely one that was like, I was like, I really really want this one. And so as soon as I placed the Amazon France order, I made sure I threw this one in the cart. So this is from the Seal and Rice Tarot. Another one that's super chaotic that I didn't get to show in my other videos because I was trying to show tower cards that aren't like this, that aren't so chaotic, that don't feel so wow. But I actually love this tower card, even though it's the antithesis of everything I prefer to see in a tower card. Not everything, because it does kind of have that light coming through the cracks feeling that I like to have, but it does have the person falling and the tower coming apart and there's lightning. But I like the way this is drawn, and I love the little polka dots that almost make it feel like, for lack of a better word, a party. And it's like, are we maybe we should actually stop to think about the fact that we can celebrate the fact that this is now behind us, and that something made us end whatever it is that needed to go, even though we couldn't let go of it on our own. Because usually, I feel like when the tower happens, it's because of something we can't let go of. And so there's that divine intervention where it's like, or the universe, or something coming. It could just be the laws of physics, just coming, saying you can't, no further, no further, no further. There's better for you, and if you keep walking down this path, you're not going towards your highest self. So we're stopping you here and now. And that's kind of like what will happen. And I feel like, I've had situations where the tower card has been manifested itself in so many different ways for me, but in the end it's always been for the better. I've had lightning strike and actually like blow up circuits in my house when I've drawn a tower card. I'm talking about literal lightning strikes, not metaphorical or whatever. I'm talking about actually strike my house and blow up every circuit in my house. And I think that even though that sucks and it left me with a little bit of PTSD, not gonna lie, I still get a little bit nervous about storms after that. It definitely felt like, it was better that it blew out those circuits, because obviously the circuits weren't wired correctly. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, if I hadn't caught it that day, something else might have happened that could have been even worse. You know what I'm saying? So it's always one of those things where, yeah, it fucking sucks. It always fucking sucks. But well, often, I won't say always, but it often sucks. But it's usually for the better. I would say every time it's always been on the other side, that star. There's always that star on the other side where you start to, once you can get past it, you can start to see that other side, right? And so this is from the Broken Isn't Bad tarot. This little chick is like running into the clouds. She's running into the storm. She actually has her eyes open and she can see that there's a storm coming, and she's like, you know what, I'm not going to just let it overtake me. I'm not going to let these clouds consume me. I'm running into this and I'm going to fix it. I'm getting on the other side of this come hell or high water. And she is going full force into the clouds, and I love that this one. I really do. I love this tower card as well. This is from the Sweeney tarot. Cards like this in the Sweeney tarot sometimes really just take my breath away because they can be so visceral, but without, yeah, they tap on that a little bit discomfort, but not enough to push me over the edge. You know what I mean? And so that's what I like about the set, because it's like stays just on my side of that sort of visceral image, that it doesn't cross the line into what I can't stand. It keeps me just on the side where I can still look at it and I can still take from it. And I love that about this tower card. I think if there was any more blood, if there was any more, if his face wasn't surrendering purposefully to this pain, and I think that facial expression helps me be able to deal with this sort of this pain that he is in, that he is submitting himself. I think that this one speaks to me so much is because when I am in a tower moment, I often feel like this. Um, Usually I'm trying to stop it from happening only to my own detriment. But even though I can see the blood on my hands, I can feel it running down my arms, I'm still trying to save something. You know what I mean? It happens to me all the time. I just can't get let go sometimes. And well, it's often, and I'm learning and I'm older now, so I have a better grip on it. But, in my youth, it was bad, and so I think that this tower card really speaks to me because of that, because it really is, I can see myself in this card. I can see me in this guy on this card. So and I think we talk a lot about wanting to be able to see ourselves in the tarot, wanting to be able to see um our own lives reflected in the images on the cards, our own experiences, and even sometimes our own, what we look like, what we look like. So I don't look like this guy, but I can definitely feel his experience because I've been there. Maybe not holding on to an actual sword and bleeding, but just I've been there. If you know, you know. So there's that one from the Sweeney Tarot. So, as we just kind of take a look at these 5 tarot cards before we get to my last card that I pulled for fun, I wanted to read a poem from the Inner Tarot and maybe some excerpts from this one as well. This is a tarot book about self compassion, using the tarot to empower yourself and to be kind to yourself. This is by Kate Van Horn. I picked this up either earlier this year or late last year. It's a newer book. I love the way that she simply writes about these very introspective ways that she uses the tarot, or she views the tarot for self-compassion and for like self-worth. I really enjoy this one. So if you're interested in that kind of use for the tarot, maybe take a look at this one. And I just gonna read this poem and you can take a look at these. So the poem says, "In my story, The Tower, she felt the world crumble beneath her, ungrounding. This reckoning forced her to respond by rising, first out of survival, then out of grace, arriving far above the ashes in awe and appreciation for what she had previously destroyed and what had almost destroyed her. Below her rested an earth that could not be shaken, moved, or disrupted anymore." And then it says, "Here comes the tower, stirring up some drama in your readings and cementing itself as possibly the most feared card in the deck. The tower can trigger anxiety and fear because at its core, it's a card of destruction and epiphanies. The upheaval can make us uncomfortable because we are left in the ashes, forced to redirect ourselves and rebuild in ways we didn't plan on." And I love that. I love when she said that. I was like, yes, I feel seen. I feel seen because yes, I don't want to rebuild things. Like I work so hard to build things, and then it's hard to I don't know. It's like an ego breakdown, right? Like I built this up. I thought I was going in the right direction, and boom, the universe was like, "No, this is not the right direction, and you can't hear me. So I'm gonna redirect you." And it sometimes can be a little bit difficult to hear. So then it says here, there's something empowering about this tower energy if we allow it to simply be. We face a choice. We can either resist and deny that this change is happening, or we can walk through the flames just like this chick here. Walk through the flames, excited to see what we can burn or destroy in the psyche, and find ourselves safely resting on the other side of the ashes. And I love that. I really thought that was. I really like the write up for the tower in this book. I'm not going to read it all, but I thought that when I get one of these books, some of the ones that I go to first are always going to be the tower, the three of swords. I love the two of cups, so I'll read that and see what that has to say. There are certain cards that we love or that we dislike, and then we're going to look at those first, and those are the ones that I look at first. And I really, when I open this, when I bought this, I wasn't so sure about it, but when I opened it and saw that tower entry, I knew I was going to love that book. And I think I'll probably keep that one on my shelf for quite a while. Let's look at the last card. All right. It had to be the Buffy. It had to be the Buffy Tower. This is from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer deck. If you know Buffy, you know that there was no other image they could put on the tower card that would be better than her sacrificing her life for her sisters. Yeah, it was definitely an upheaval for a lot of people, not just her, for her friends, for her sister that was left behind, but she did it to save the world. As always, she's always trying to save the world, to intervene on things that were falling apart, right? It was either this or let the apocalypse happen. And she was not about to let that happen. So she dove off the tower and she saved everyone. I don't think that there could have been a better image on this card. I think that they did such a fantastic job choosing this one for this card. And then also, I think that this deck has so many really great choices that they took from the show. And you could tell that the person who crafted this deck, who created this deck, really, really understood the show and knew all of those scenes and picked some of the best ones, for this. I just wish that it had come together a little bit better for me. But I do really love this card. So this is the Tower card from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Tarot. And that is my final Tower card for today. So at this point, I'm going to throw it to you. What's your favorite Trump 16? What's your favorite Tower card or whatever it's called in your collection? Sometimes they rename them. It doesn't matter if it's Trump 16. I want to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow and it helps me let me know what you guys like. If you think someone might want to see this, please share it with people that you think might be interested. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye bye.